I'm Dennis Pravensky and welcome to Grandpa Dennis's Woodturning. Today, it's all about nesting bowls. What makes a good set? So let's get on with it. A few videos ago, I had turned this bowl and this bowl. When I turned them, I ended up coring out the centers. Here are the centers. Now, how do I turn these into bowls? That's the project for today. Today, I'm going to show you one of the methods I use to finish turning one of these bowls. I have one of the small bowls put into the coal jaws to grip onto them. However, these are not chucks. There's just not enough gripping power, and if you're turning this without added support and get a slight catch, it'll rip it right out. I flattened off the bottom here so that my tailstock can come up and give the added support needed. I'm going to turn a small tendon in here so that I can grip it in regular jaws, and then I can turn the outside and the inside. I've now reversed the piece and put it into the jaws of my chuck. This will allow me to turn the outside of the bowl and then work on the inside. Now I'll concentrate on hollowing out the inside of this small bowl. I power sand all of my bowls up to 400 grit. If there's resin involved, I'll go as high as 2000. I am now working on the second small bowl. I already had the foot turned and had it placed in the jaws of my chuck. I turned the outside and the inside. Now I've reversed it again and placed it onto a vacuum chuck. I did this to have access to the very bottom and clean up the tenon. Using a vacuum chuck to clean up the bottom of my bowls is one of my favorite methods for all sizes. When I remove the tailstock, the vacuum will hold the piece on. This will give me total access to the bottom of the piece so that I can finish turning it and sanding the bottom while it's still on the lathe. Now it was time to work on the medium-sized bowls. Because this bowl had a lot of resin in it, I did the sanding up to 2500 grit. After the sanding was done, I used a buffing wheel to get rid of all of the minor scratches in the resin. This is charged with white diamond compound. I will also use the buffing wheel between coats of finish. I saturate the piece with my finish and then turn the machine back on. With the lathe running, I can apply some pressure to the piece. The pressure will create a little bit of heat, which helps the finish to set properly. I'm now turning the inside of the second medium-sized core. The process to get to this stage and to finish it is basically the same as the other pieces. Well, what happened to the cored out pieces from these two bowls? Well, here they are. So let's talk about nesting sets. They came out as nice little dishes, but are they a good nesting set? I need your opinions on that. Send me a comment to say whether these are really good nesting sets. I've got some ideas on that. For a good nesting set, I think the first impression is critical. You have to be able to say that these belong to each other, that all three pieces came from the same piece of wood and they belong to each other on both of these. That's the first key element you have to have, is your first impression. I think there's three key elements to a nesting set. Number one is the shape. Is the shape the same or similar in all three bowls? Number two is the material used, the coloring, the type of wood. Do they complement each other? Are they part of the same piece? And number three is the size. So let's look at all of that. I have a set that I think is ideal as a set of nesting bowls. I think this is a perfect set of nesting bowls. You have the same type of wood with the same figure in it. You have ones that match with the same kind of profile, the shape. And number two, you have sizing, going from larger to medium to small. These are a perfect nesting set. Now let's look at these two sets to see if they're a perfect nesting set. Quite clearly, the pattern of the wood and the coloring is perfect. You can tell that these pieces came from each other and they belong. On this one with the burled maple, it's the same thing. These are all burled maple from the same log, so these match. My opinion is it's nicer if you have the same shape on all three pieces. That's not the case here. So if you've got three radically different shapes, that can still work. These are radically different shapes, the three of them. These are three radically different shapes, the three of them. I think that would work. The last feature is the sizing. Now there's a problem. This is very small compared to that, I don't think this works out well. This is a little bit better, but it still doesn't work out well. This is too tall, and this piece is too tall. I believe they're still nice arrangements, but not as a set of nesting bowls that'll be displayed together. I think they would go well in a home and separated different parts of the home for the different pieces. And I think that would work. The next time around, when I've got the large casting on the lathe, instead of turning it all as the biggest piece I could get out of the casting, I would do another coring right here. That would make this bowl much smaller, and I'd have a fourth blank left over to maybe turn a shallow dish out of. That would have given me a much better spacing in terms of size. I would have made this bigger, so it would have been closer to that. Then that would have worked. The same on this one. Slightly smaller, not quite as big. These two are not too bad in terms of size, but that can be a little bit smaller to make it even better. Well, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you thought this was a good video. Hit the like button and share it with other fellow woodturners. I hope this gives you a good idea on how to make nesting bowls and how to improve the design of them. Until the next time, keep on turning.
Grandpa Dennis is turning.
I'm alright, 'cause I'm okay. Doesn't matter if my beard is gray. Just listen, I have something to say.
Grandpa Dennis is turning.
I'm alright, 'cause I'm okay. And this old goat has something to say. So just keep learning from Grandpa Dennis's turning.